Welcome back to another all-out NRL fantasy episode. I'm joined by none other than Macca. How are you, brother?
Good, thanks, man. Good to be here.
Oh, mate, it is time to get into round six's buy, hold, and sells. We're not going to beat around the bush.
Nah, straight into it.
Let's get straight into it and look straight into it to a man that a lot of players actually got rid of, Nathan Cleary. He bounced back in terrific fashion. 71 points, 745K. Look, break even of 72. Look, he had a break even of 100 plus last week.
If you don't have him, jump on.
Yeah, it's basically as simple as that. We don't need to really tell you much more. Cleary is back, best game of the year,
and captain him.
Yeah, he's actually a very good captaincy option. Next man is James Tedesco, brother. Look, Teddy, 678K, 62 points in the Sydney Derby against South last week, break even of 42. I think if you need a wing fullback this week, Teddy is your man.
Yeah, I really like the Teddy buy, brother. Even though the Roosters have been struggling a little bit, Teddy's still been scoring well. He's still involved, still breaking tackles. So I think he's a great buy at that price point, especially.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll play Origin unless Dylan Edwards gets injured. I think the Blues have moved on from Teddy. Look, we're going to bunch these two together, Hudson Young and Eli Katoa. So Hudson Young had a terrific performance, was a key integral part of that match-winning try. Look, he even got sin-binned and he still got 76 points. He's 751K, break even of 47, averaging 60.2 for the season. And then Eli Katoa, look, similarly priced around 718K, 63 points last week, so not as good as Hudson Young, but look, break even of 49 and averaging 56.8. Yeah. I think if you're really looking for a bit of a pod or a bit of a cheapie, or not really like a cheap, like more like an expensive gun that you can sort of rely on in that edge position for the rest of the season, I think these two guys are really good picks.
Yeah, and with both these guys, they're kind of similar in the fact that they're involved in a lot of the attack. They're exciting. They might not have the floor of some other guys like an Angus Crichton, but with how much attack they're involved in, it's pretty good to own either of them. Yeah,
no, I think so as well. Look, the next tier or group of players, brother, I think we're going to put together is Thomas Kant. Look, he was the one that I said last week that if you don't get Thomas Kant in your team, you don't get fantasy. Look, that was not looking great, but it is prospered nicely. Look, 549K for Kant. He played centre on the weekend
Still scored well.
And got 50 points, and the Knights didn't even score a try or a point. So 50 points in a 0-point performance for the Knights. Look, 14 break even. And back playing edge this week is huge. Look, Wong has just been gobbling. Look, he got 80 points last week. He's 589K, break even of 3. Look, even against the Broncos were the team that Wong has got his worst score. I think he got 33 in round 1, but that was like 50-something plus points to something.
Ignore
thrashing.
that. I'm jumping on Wong this week. I thought about it last week, but yeah, I think now he's just proven himself as a player. He's just so involved. I think he had over 40 tackles. He looks damaging with the ball. Yeah, don't be scared of his price. I think jump on now.
Yeah, and a player that's a bit higher in price, but he also plays on the edge, but he does have middle dual eligibility is Couchman. 69 points in that extra time unfortunate loss to Parramatta last weekend. He's averaging 58.8 for the season, break even of 27 this week. I think like if you need a middle, Couchman is a really, really good option. But if you need an edge cover as well, he's also very good.
Yeah, and I think his role is pretty set at the moment in the Dragons forward rotation.
There was 50 to 60 minutes.
Yeah, there was a worry there that he'd get 40 or get benched, but I think we need him on the field for as long as we possibly can have him on the field. So yeah, he's still a good buy. Yes.
Now let's move on to some other half options, brother, outside of Nathan Cleary. Pardon me. So we've got Jerome Hughes. Look, Macca and I both agree that it's probably not the worst to wait a week, but if you want to jump on early, feel free to do so. He got 44 points last week. He does have a relatively high break even of 78 this week. But look, if you really need a half option to replace Jamie Humphreys, which I think like a lot of these players that we're going to discuss are going to be options for you.
Very soft schedule coming up as well. So if you want the points now, go ahead.
Yeah, 100%. And the other man is Jamal Fogarty. Look, he's been great. If the Raiders are playing good, Fogarty's scoring very well. 65 points last week, break even of 46. And look, he's averaging 54.2 for the season. So
Mr. Consistent.
He also goal kicks as well, which is another credit, another thing in his favour for Fogarty. So yeah, I think they're both really good options, brother. But I think Nathan Cleary is definitely the pick of the lot. But look, you can't go wrong with either Fogarty. Basically wrong with Fogarty or Jerome Hughes this week. On to the next player, brother, Maxi Plath. Look, he's benefiting from. Well, I actually think he's not an edge at all.
No.
So I'm glad that he's back in the middle, but that means that Gilbert's on the edge, and Gilbert is not an edge at all.
Yeah.
So look, both players, I think Plath will actually go better in the long run, fantasy wise, on the edge. But look, he's back in the middle, 66 points last week. I don't think it's definitely one that you go out and buy this week. I think like Wong and Kant, a potential, or Teddy or Cleary, I think are better options. But I think Plath is definitely one to watch if he's getting that big 80-minute role playing at lock in the middle of the field. Look, 66 points, 43 break even. He's averaging 53.2. We saw what Plath can do last season. He was great, I think, for most coaches. So, yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, look, there are definitely a few other players I'd get over him this week, like you said. But, yeah, with that middle role he's going to score pretty well. So, yeah, he's on my radar to buy for sure.
Yeah, 5.3% of teams for Maxi Plath, a nice pot option. But another really nice pot option is a man that I touched on last week, and I think Mick was frowning. He just couldn't believe that I'd actually mentioned this man. But Jakey Clifford, look, this man has been feasting fantasy-wise, actually playing very well IRL. Look, 59 points last week in that huge upset win over Penrith. He's averaging 61.7 for the season, and he's got a break-even of 21. 3.6% of teams. Look, if you look at the run, like he did score 2 tries a couple of weekends ago against the Raiders in his 72, but he didn't really get any sort of attacking output against the Broncos or Penrith for that matter, and still managed to get 54 and 59 respectively. So what do you think?
Oh, mate, I'm not sold on Jake Clifford. Sorry, I can't bring myself to do it, but
he's doing well though.
Yeah, he's doing well. And if you've got the balls to pick up a real pod, go ahead. But I'm going to need to see a few more rounds of solid play from Jackie Clifford to jump on.
Yeah, no, that is very fair. You've got players that are a bit more expensive in Hughes and Fogarty. This is more of an option if you can't really get to that like 700K.
If you want to have a little bit of fun with it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. On to the next man. Look, this man can't go any lower. Like, he's basically bottomed out. He's lost 212K for the season. Reece Walsh, 488K. He got 31 points last week, a break even of 51 this week. Look, he could definitely get that against the Roosters this week, who, look, even though that they've sort of been in contests thus far this season, they're definitely conceding a lot of points.
Look, if you're going to jump on Reece Walsh, it's because you think he's going to come good and he can't possibly go any worse, which might be true.
He also could goal kick as well. He did pick up the goal kicking last week. If Reynolds is laid out, he could also pick that goal kicking back up.
I mean, you're picking up a potential gun when you fall back for a discount price. So maybe a bit risky with how he's playing, but as I said, he can't possibly go any worse.
You could, like we said with Jerome Hughes, brother, you could wait a week. I personally, I'm pretty happy with my wing fullback. Yep. So as much as I think Reece Walsh is a great option, I think I'm rather looking to strengthen my edges with like a Wong and a Kant, or potentially get one of those halves that we just discussed. On to the next man. This is I don't think he's a buy, but definitely. Well, look, if you really want to be ballsy, this is a real ballsy play. He's a. I think you can probably put these two
put
together.
Him in the Clifford.
No, well, he's way below that. Okay. So Jaden Sullivan and Hugo Savala. We're gonna touch on these two together. Look, Sullivan South have been really depleted in the halves. They've lost Walker and Humphreys. Walker to a couple of weeks, and Humphreys is out for 4 to 5 weeks. Look, Lewis Dodd is suspended this week, but look, in my opinion, I'm not getting Jaden Sullivan, but look, if you really want to be, really like YOLO, show you, a big dick play. I think that Jaden Sullivan is. That's definitely the option. Because look, I just can't even. The only good thing about him this week is that he's starting playing 80, and they're versing the Cowboys. But the Cowboys have shown they're a lot better side than they were to start the season. But look, we got to touch on him because I think a few people will be interested. At that low
disrespect to Bud Sullivan, but I never thought I'd see him as a fancy buy.
Well,
but
the thing is as
he's got a good running game. I guess he could do worse.
Yeah. It's just like Cody Walker comes back. Yeah, he probably then Sullivan's probably gonna. I can't see South playing Latrell at 6 for every week. I think it's just because of the injury crisis at South. And then the other man is Chad has been dropped, and so Hugo Savala. Basically, he's an East legend, even though he's only played 1 or 2 games. 230K. Look. 72 break even. I don't think that's correct, but it's probably because he's only played a couple of minutes. Look, it's the same with Sullivan for me. I think with Savala, though, I think there is a chance for long-term growth until Sammy Walker comes back. Yeah. So I would be more inclined to get Savala, but definitely not this weekend.
Agreed.
On to the last options. We're just going to bunch all these together because we've touched on these guys several times over the last couple of weeks. It's basically cheapie, the Fantastic Four of cheapies, basically. You've got Dylan Egan, Tom Jenkins, Katoga, and Riley Smith. I think that the order that they're in is pretty close. I think probably Jenkins might be number 1. He could be cheapie of the week, even though that Egan's break-even's a bit lower. Look, Jenkins is playing that 80-minute role. Egan, I think, benefited slightly from the Leilua issue with his knee. So for me, Jenkins, Egan, Katoga, and Smith, I think they're all great options in that order. Definitely, if you haven't got Jenkins, you got to get him in this week. Look, that's really it for the buys, brother. I don't think we really need to touch on. We've gone through a great list of players there. Let's get on to the holds. A couple of these are going to be very self-explanatory.
Do I see Payne Haas written down there, Dor?
Yes.
Look, surely no one's selling Payne.
I've seen DMs. I've seen DMs of Payne Haas, Ponga. Look, these ones are the okay. So
Terrell
Haas,
May, what's he doing?
Haas, Ponga, and May. Look, all those players, even though they didn't go well last week,
it's just one round, boys.
It's one round. They'll be back firing next week. I think the only definitely May and Haas. Ponga might struggle a little, but look, Ponga's a gun. He'll come good. Tino, he's only out 1 week, suspended.
Hold.
Definitely a hold. He was great for the Titans. Probably one of their best. 61 points for Tino. Yeah, with a binning. So yeah, he was great. Hopgood. Look, got to give him another week, but it's getting close to potentially a sell.
He's on the radar.
He's definitely on the radar. 37 points last week. I think the Dylan Walker signing has sort of affected his minutes. So, yeah, I give him 1 more week. If he's no good next week, he's definitely a sell. Look, Jaden Campbell, he's pretty close to those other guys.
So just keep him.
The Titans.
If you brought him in, a lot of people brought him in as well. Like, why would you bring him in for 1 week?
We got him in last week.
Just stick true.
It's more what I'm trying to say here is just like the Titans just couldn't have played any worse than they did against the Dolphins. Like they were awful, and Campbell still got 46 points.
That's his flaw. He's looking pretty good this year.
Then on to one of his teammates, brother, Bo Firma.
Look, 20 points playing center. Like we know he's a gun when he's playing on the edge, so don't panic and just keep him.
Yeah, he basically just got moved out there as Jojo Fafita was laid out through injury. He's back this week, so he'll be back on the edge.
I think I've said this before about Fermor. The one reason why I sort of erred on the side of caution getting him, because he's always the one to move to centre.
Yeah, a bit of versatility.
Happens a lot, which ruins his scores. But yeah, when he's playing edge, he scores well. So
yeah, he's a bit like the big one of our fishes of the week, or probably our fish of the week, Jamin Salmon. He's got that. He's got that versatility.
Too versatile for his own good.
Yeah, so that's definitely. Definitely, yeah. Keep Bowie Firma. He'll bounce back this week. Look, I'm not going to touch on this guy that much, but look, Tom Starling. Look, you can definitely, if you wanted to sell him, because it doesn't look like he's going to get that 60-minute roll.
Ricky's done it again.
With Paddy seems to be going well in that 20-minute roll. So I think, yeah, look, you can definitely keep him. He's going to get you like around a 40-50 every week.
He'll do a job for a week or two, but
40-50 every week. It's not the worst, especially with the hooker depth that we're dealt with this season and how they're playing. So, look, it's not the worst. It's not an immediate sell, but he's just not going to make you money and not really get you like a real gun score, if that makes sense. So, look, move those. Start deploying Connor Watson into the hooker position if you haven't done so already. Adam Reynolds, look, he could be a laid out this week. He did leave the game after that beautiful chip and chase try last weekend. But look, I think that definitely give him another week. Came off early. Look, the Broncos draw is starting to get very nice as well. I don't need to say much more. The next man, Marky Mark. Now, quickly on Marky Mark, I don't know if you guys are regular viewers of the social media, but you would have seen that I posted that Townsend and Dom Young were set to be dropped this week. The reason that Marky Mark is in 18th man and Dom Young is still on the sting is that Marky Mark's calf is still
bothering him.
Yeah, still giving him a bit of issue. Oh, there's some issues. So, look, long story short, in terms of Marky Mark playing this week, if he's right to go, I've got like basically what the Roosters are saying is that he'll be in and Dom Young will be out. So, yeah, look, you definitely don't want to sell Marky Mark. Look, 418K, he's got dual wing fullback and centre, break even of 17.
Just leave him, boys.
Definitely just got to hold on to Marky Mark. Seyfarth, this man, just like Hopgood, is starting to probably get close to the sell. But all he needs is one good score, I think, again, just because of that insipid score last week, and he can really start making some money again. Look, 30 points last week. The Tigers were pretty poor. He's got dual, which is very handy, middle and edge, break even of 33. For me.
There's so many points scored in that game as well. When you're someone that relies on base stats, like it's the same with Haas.
And horrific officiating.
Yeah.
There was so much like time.
It was just a bad game for scoring. We'll say that.
I'm with you on that, brother. Yeah, definitely can hold Seyfarth, but he could be one. I'm not going to hate someone though, Macca. If someone comes to me and says, I want to sell, I want to sell Alex Seyfarth for a Sua Wong, or I want to sell Seyfarth for a Khan.
It's all team dependent. It's all context.
100%. And look, Seyfarth could go well. They're versing a very depleted Newcastle team this week. Now, on to the last two. Not going to spend much time on these guys, but look, Mamazoulis is starting to get close to the end, but he's got a good matchup against the Cowboys this week, so definitely hold. His break-even's getting up there. He got 35 points last week, break-even of 29 this week, so he's definitely starting to get up there, but I wouldn't be panicking. Look, again, if you want to sell him, same situation as Seyfarth to one of those other guys, I'm not going to hate you for it. But I think he's definitely going to bounce back, I think, with a good 40 to 50 point score this week. Same with Sandon Smith. Had an insipid score the week before, but he bounced back in great style with a 46. Most of the points probably coming from that try early on in that Sydney derby. So, break even to 21, 46 last week. Keep him around. He should go well. Now, onto the sells. There's not many here, but there is, a couple of big fish. Look, Jamie Humphreys, unfortunately gone with that hamstring, 4 to 5 weeks. God, it was a great run. But unfortunately,
but it's done.
It's done. You could definitely, if he comes back or whatever, he's getting like keeper scores, so you could definitely come back to him later. But you want to try and get some of these cheapies or other options.
If you don't have Cleary, Humphreys is a pretty easy one to go.
Or if you got good halves coverage, you can go to a Wong,
So that's what I've done this week.
something like that. Yeah. Zach Lomax, look, he somehow defeated the Dragons with a broken foot. He did that, I'm pretty sure, late in regulation.
Yeah, I sort of remember it happening, actually.
It was actually, I'm pretty sure it was like in the last minute. He tried to, the Dragons pushed out. I think Gutho really did a really good press to put pressure on the field goal. And then Lomax like sort of did a dummy and like stepped off his foot. And it just got stuck or something like that happened. And basically he played the rest of the game and what happened.
Kicks the game winner against his old team that gets injured for the next 6 to 8 weeks.
He's going to be out for a while. Look, we've given some great options. Not really that many centers. Look, Firma's definitely one that you could look at, but look, he has a high break even. There's plenty of cheapies. Katoga, Jenkins. Look, there's some other options there that you can get into your side. Look, if you want a gun, just get in Herbie. Look, I don't need to say much more about good old Herbie. And look, another sell here. Look, I'm going to touch on this man last. I'm touching on this man now because he let me down. Not myself, but also the all-out team. Jack Gajeski. Jack Gajeski. He was awful. Insipid. Awful. 30 points last week. We were thinking, he's going to get the big minute. Piacor is going to play that 60-minute impact role. But no, Jack decided to come out and score a nice half a dozen.
I mean, it's the Jack Goss we know and love, sadly.
I don't think we love it.
No, we hate it.
We hate it.
It's time to go for Jack.
Yeah, look, you can definitely hold him. He could bounce back with a 30-point this week. But what I'm trying to say is there's these options that we just touched on, like the Egan, Jenkins, Katoga, Smith. These guys that you've got to get into your team. And Jack Goss is the perfect stepping stone to that. Jack Goss is not making money. He's made $50K for the year. These other guys are going to make you that potentially in 1 week. So definitely, get rid of Jack Goss. And then Jack Cole is the last one. Look, he just hasn't gone very well when Nathan Cleary's played. He's played better when he's moved to halfback and he's basically the guy. So I'm actually also backing that Blaze has a really good performance this weekend and will lock down that 6 jersey for a few weeks, inspiring a Penrith victory this Thursday night. Look, Jack Cole, he's made 127K. But unfortunately, it's time to go. And basically, you can just go straight to those other options that I just touched on. Look, Macca, before that's basically our buy, hold, sell. But I'm going to come to you with a question. Who are you captaining this week?
Nathan Cleary.
Nathan Cleary?
Probably. It's either him or Haas, but I just think Cleary against Dolphins, what did he get, 71 last week?
71 last week.
I know it's a Thursday game and everyone hates the Thursday curse, but I think his ceiling is too hard to pass up at the moment.
Yeah, he also averages 76 against the Dolphins, so there's great stats to back up that decision of Cleary. I think averages 99 as well at Suncorp. So
I think Haas will have a bounce back game as well. I don't see him going under 60.
100%.
As I said, terrible game, heaps of points scored, heaps of stoppages. That's going to be Haas's lowest score for the season. I guarantee it. Yeah,
Haas, May, I think are definitely great options again this week. I think your Jaden Campbells and your Pongers will bounce back as well this week. So there's some really good, easy options for your side. But look, bit of a pot option. What about Snackenhausen?
Really? You looking at Snackenhausen?
I haven't got Snackenhausen, but I'm just saying he's a bit of a pot option.
Yeah, well, I do have him. I haven't even considered him. Maybe I'll look into that.
What about a Trelly?
Yeah, you go Trelly.
But I just think Trelly, you prefer Trelly at fullback, I reckon. Yeah.
I just think if don't think about it too much. If you got Haas, you got Cleary, pick one of those.
Yeah. Though that's basically the podcast for this week. Just make sure if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. That's basically the biggest support for us is from the YouTube. You guys subscribing. So we really appreciate the support. Same as if you don't follow any of the socials, give us a follow on all of them. We're basically
smash that like button.
And smash the like button. And just remember as well, like I said on the Instagram story yesterday, Monday night with Dor, where we're basically going to preview review the round that was. So we'll preview round 6 on Monday night, as well as also touch basically NRL-wise and fantasy-wise. So make sure you're tuned in for that. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for round 7's buy, hold, and sell.
See you. Good luck this week.
See you then.